Hi guys, it's Theresa here of Larkin Design, and welcome to my 2017 Project Life album. This is my hybrid layout for week 16, which was April 16th through 22nd, so just a week ago or so. And so I apologize, somehow I didn't capture the footage of placing my photos into my template here. I did actually create my template myself this week, and it's a sort of tic-tac-toe pattern alternating between 4x6 photos and 3x4 cards. And so it was just something that I created myself, made my own frames and clipping masks here to do. And so all my photos are brought in for the week, and I'm just working here on bringing in the cards. And so today I'm working with a brand new collection and a brand new company to me called A Whimsical Adventure. And A Whimsical Adventure is available from the Sweet Shop Designs and also through Etsy. On Etsy, she's called A Whimsical Adventure. And so I'm delighted to announce that I have been invited to be on her creative team. So you'll be seeing more from this company on my channel and on my blog. And I hope that you'll be inspired, and I hope that you'll go check her out. Some amazing vintage products and just really cool stuff to look at and to play with. So I decided that I wanted to use this collection, of course, for my weekly layout that included Easter. And I don't normally do themed layouts, but I really had fun working with this collection this week, and it wasn't too Easter themey, if you know what I mean. There are a couple of really sweet references to Easter and egg hunts and all that, but there were some really beautiful pattern papers that are part of the collection that I really wanted to use. And then some of the journaling cards are just gorgeous here. So you'll see what I'm doing here is sizing down some of the 12 by 12 papers to use as journaling cards here. And of course you can bring the full 12 by 12 paper into your template and create your clipping mask, and this is just another way that you can do that as well. So I wanted you to be able to see that. I wanted you to be able to see how I'm selecting, especially right here, how I'm selecting just a particular portion of the patterned papers. And I cannot get over how beautiful these patterns are. Just so very French provincial to me, very vintage, very worn and relaxed and comfortable to me. So I did that on several of these pattern papers, and then once I have all the cards positioned into the layout, I'm gonna copy and paste this pattern paper as one of the backgrounds. So I'm gonna place that one on the left hand side, and then I have the other one is going to be this lovely let me get my layers adjusted here. I want to make sure that my white mat is on in the appropriate order so it still shows. But check out this beautiful robin's egg blue and sort of mint green pattern here. It was just too beautiful to not use. So that is pretty much my layout here. I am also going to use, there was a set of alphabets and numbers included in this digital kit. And so I'm going to pull up all the letters and the numbers to spell week 16. And I'll get going on that here in a minute. I'm just doing final adjustments here to make sure that the mats are sized correctly and everything. So here's the alphabet and the numbers that I want to use. So I'm going to open up the W, E, K, and 1 and 6. And then I'm going to just copy and paste each one into the layout. And then you'll see where I'm going to place them here in just a moment. And I'm going to close things out that I didn't need. Okay, so in the upper left-hand corner, I have this 4x6 card, and it's divided into two 3x4 sections. And I want to put the week across the top and then the 16 underneath. So I'm going to just bring everything into the layout. And I'm just copying and pasting. On a desktop, it's Control-C and Control-V. And then you hold the Shift key down when you have both selected, and you can size both up and down at the same time. I'll do this also with the W, E, E, and K. Once I get those copied and pasted here. And I'm just going to bring those in and then line them all up, even though they're not correctly proportioned right now at all. And so I can understand where using alphabets digitally can be overwhelming, because how do you know what the scale looks like? And for me, I have to think about, okay, 3 inches for 4 letters is actually pretty giant. So I'm okay with using the whole word week going across this card. And then the 16 is larger underneath the week. And I really like how that turned out. And so I'm going to save it and print it. And then we will move to my worktop and we'll do the embellishing portion. So I print my layouts here at home. I use a Canon Pixma IX6820, which I love and adore. And I print on Staples brand matte photo paper, 13 by 19. And then I trim it down. And so what you'll see me doing here is just laying out some of the embellishments. I shopped my stash and went through and looked for some pieces that would give a little bit of three-dimensional depth here. And so I also printed out some of the elements that were included in the digital kit and have those here in my little bowl as well. And I'm placing those. You can see I'm working with those right now. I also have some felt flowers from Freckled Fawn, some chipboard, and some wood pieces from Freckled Fawn. And I also have some wood pieces from Ellie's Studio. And then I'll also bring in some purple hearts that I have that are just from who knows where. And then I'm also going to use 2 stamp sets, a Carrie Bradford set for the month and the date, and the Studio Calico April Documenter stamp set. And then a couple of enamel shapes from Freckled Fawn, and a camera puffy sticker from Freckled Fawn as well. And I just went in my stash and looked for whatever I had that was wood grain, that was purple or mint colored, or green, or some kind of version of this robin's egg mint green on the right hand side. So I did a little bit of experimenting this week, and you'll have to forgive. There's some unique camera angles here that I'm just experimenting with and playing around with a little bit on how to show my process from using some different angles. And I'm kind of excited about this. This is kind of fun, actually. I had to laugh because I set up 3 cameras. I set up 3 cameras to film this process, you guys. And so there's a point at which you sort of look around and there's 3 cameras pointed at you, filming your every move, and you kind of think you flipped your lid. Um, but I totally want to play around a little bit with this. So you guys are going to get to see me experimenting and figuring out how to do this, and then also how to edit this. So forgive me if some of the angles are off, or some of the editing is awkward. I'm just having fun here, and hopefully you guys will get to see my process from a different perspective as well. Sometimes it's fun to back up and let you see what my desk looks like and what the whole process looks like. Not just the edited, cropped version that you see overhead. There's tremendous value to that, and so that's not going away completely. But there's also tremendous value to seeing my process there's also tremendous value to seeing the process when you step back a few steps and see it that way. So just playing around with that. I hope that that's fun for you, and thanks for humoring me while I do that. It's fun. It's fun to play around with cameras and play around with editing, and I think it's a moving forward for me in where I am in my learning. It's a move forward, so hopefully you guys like it too. And so once I had everything kind of laid out on my layout itself, it's just a matter of putting everything down and finalizing everything and adding my journaling. That is pretty much what you will see on the rest of this layout, is just me putting everything down and adding my journaling. So I'll tell you a little bit about our photos this week and the stories that I had. Of course, it was Easter, and I have to admit that we don't do a lot of celebrating on Easter. We don't make a big deal about it. I have always been very uncomfortable with the glorification of the crucifixion personally, but we do give our kids Easter baskets and candy, and they like that, and so that's always nice. So I had a photo from there, and then I also had this really cute photo of Addison walking the dog. They were coming back down the street from their walk, and I noticed in the photo that Addison I think that he's going through a growth spurt right now, which is actually a really big deal. If you guys followed last January, he did some growth challenge testing. We noticed that he had slowed down, and when you have two other children that are very close in age, and they surpassed him, they were younger than him, but they surpassed him in height, and so we got concerned about that. And so he went through testing, and he's been on some medication, and he's starting to have a growth spurt. And so that was actually a really big deal, and so I wanted to be sure and capture that and document that here on this layout this particular week. We also did the majority of our planting this week, so you'll see photos from our yard. My big giant hosta here, they have taken over their spot in the flower beds. It's kind of cool. I love those big giant leaves. They have such a lovely texture, and of course you can see how I used the stones as a path for my handwriting, and so that's always fun to add just a few more words and a little more journaling in. And then we also had date night. I posted that photo on my Instagram that night. We went to Ham's for dinner, and oh my god, I had the most amazing chocolate martini ever. So that was yummy and definitely a much needed treat. I could have just stayed there all night and drank the whole bar and closed the whole place down, but we didn't. We left after one drink, so it was nice though. to relax and just hang out together. And then on the other side, my photos are more from the yard. So there's our front door. We got some new flower pots for the front door. One of the things that I love to do is use my flower pots for some of the flowers that don't come back next year, so annuals. I do have just a base of vincas and ivy that somehow miraculously lasted through the winter, and then I added some mandevilla and of course geraniums. I love geraniums, have a long history with geraniums and the smell of geraniums that I actually love. And so I wanted to document the flower pots this year. And then the photo at the top right hand corner is actually a rainbow over the street. And of course, photographing rainbows is kind of a challenge, so you can't really see it in the video or in the photos, but it is actually a rainbow there, so that was kind of cool and fun to have that. You guys, now I like to photograph that view. That's the view out our front door, and I photograph that frequently, so it was definitely worth at least trying to include that rainbow, so that's okay. And then there's also a photo from the gardening section at Home Depot, and then also my studio, and that is my desktop, which you're seeing right now. And so that's kind of a cool shot. The sun was coming in that day, and I just took that real quick. You know, people ask a lot on Facebook groups and whatever, what does your workspace look like? You know, how do you film your process videos? And that's pretty much it. I have, my desktop is not really too big. It's like 48 by 30 or something like that. And I have a boom arm and then the two light boxes that help me keep it lit when there's not enough sun coming in through the window. Right now I've been shooting with just one of the light boxes on, and I tilt them slightly up to help keep the glare down. I don't have that problem so much when I'm not filming pocket pages, but when I'm filming pocket pages, it definitely helps to turn those light boxes up. So if you're making your own YouTube videos and wondering about how to reduce glare, try that with your light box. Any kind of light that's shining directly onto your surface is just gonna glare right up at you. So it can be frustrating. But anyway, so those are the photos from this week. It's definitely a happy week and some good photos there, a good variety. I think I'm averaging these days about 10 or 11 photos every week, and I have to say that I'm really excited about that number of photos, and I love just how varied they are, but they're brought together by this context of a weekly spread, and that for me is what Project Life is all about. And oh yeah, I forgot to tell you about this drawing. So in this lower corner here where I've been working, Emberlyn drew that of herself and Natalie, and I just was walking by the dining room table after they left for school, and there it was, and it's this really cute drawing of them, and so I just snapped a photo of it. I don't know where it disappeared to, but that that happens a lot. They make these cute little drawings and then they sort of vanish. But if I take a quick photo of them, then I have them for myself. It's Mom's little secret. So, anyway, so it was definitely fun to include that little drawing as well. It was a really good drawing. I was impressed with her abilities. So I realize I haven't really been talking very much about my process here. I think the main things I did this week were adding spaces for journaling after printing. And this can be a challenge, when you're using pattern paper for your journaling cards. And so one of the ways that I worked through that this week was there were a couple of tickets that were part of the digital collection, and so I printed both of those out and cut those up and used those in a couple of places. I did write directly on the pattern paper journaling cards a couple of times, and then I used this little label. This was a Studio Calico label, and it's really tiny, and it's just the cutest little label. And then I stamped favorites on it, and that was also from Studio Calico. So that was fun. And then you'll see at the top of the page there was a frame that was included in the digital collection as well. And so I used that frame as well for a journaling spot. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and adhere that little frame down. And when I brought it into silhouette, I sized it down so that I knew that a little bit of the pattern paper would show behind it. And then I only cut around the outside of the frame. And then I'm going to stamp some lines. Of course, I'm using the Becky Higgins roller stamp. Rumor has it that those are getting sold out. So if you've been looking for one, I recommend you check out scrapbook.com. They didn't pay me to tell you that. But I think that's about the last place that has those roller stamps. I highly, highly, highly recommend the lines that are on that stamp. And so I used one of the Studio Calico little tiny ink pads, and forgive me, I forget what it's called. It was in the April kit, and but it was that sort of mint color. And then I'm gonna write my journaling, and I think that about wraps up this layout. There's just a couple more things to finalize and adhere down. So thank you for watching, you guys. I hope that you will like and comment and subscribe. Let me know what you think about the new video edits, and then I will see you back here again soon. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.